Hey, how's it going guys, and welcome back to another interview. In today's interview, I had the absolute honour and privilege to interview multiple British junior champion, European short course medalist and European champion Tom Dean. In this interview, Tom will be discussing how he's been doing over the pandemic, why swimming is such a big part in his family, his very successful junior career and the transition going into senior, his ISL experience and what his plans are for the future, as well as giving advice for those people who may be struggling throughout the pandemic. If you would like to check Tom Dean out, and I really recommend that you do, I will leave links in the description below of his social medias as well as his website for you guys to check out. Before we start this interview, if you haven't already, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and share this interview with your family and friends. It will really help my channel out. So without further ado, let's get on with the interview. Enjoy. We have another special guest on the interview series of the channel, and that is multiple European junior champion, European short course medalist and World Championships Qualifier, Tom Dean. It's a pleasure to meet you, Tom, and welcome to the series.
Hi Jay, thanks for having me.
First of all, what I usually ask all the people that I interview is, how have you been doing over the pandemic?
Yeah, not too bad. We're very fortunate at the National Centre to have been able to train. So I've been back in the pool since late May, early June. We had 10 weeks out when the first lockdown started, but since then it's been business as usual, really. We've been fortunate enough to have full access to the swim, to the pool and to the gym, and being able to get some racing in as well. So it hasn't changed too much. It's just been a little bit different, that's all.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. It's great that you've got a lot of pool access as well, and especially with the all-crucial year this year. So I've had a look at your website that you've linked on your Instagram, which I'll leave a link in the description below for people to check out. You talked about your home life, and with having 4 other siblings, which you all have took part in swimming competitively throughout your lives. And it's really great to see and hear. Could you tell me why swimming is such a big part of your family, and what was it like growing up with the sport?
Yeah, so I moved to Maidenhead when I was 8 years old, and we just joined the local swimming club and just started training. As you said, I'm one of 5 children, and all of us have been part of the club at some point. It was just, we were dead close to the pool, to the leisure centre, so we just made it a regular thing. My older sister still swims, and my youngest brother still swim. My other brother and sister have stopped. But my older sister, swimming has allowed her to get a scholarship to actually go out to America and study medicine out there. So she's been able to get a full scholarship out to America, get to one of the best medical universities out there, and just have an amazing education off the back of her sport. So swimming's allowed her to do that, which is great, and it's benefited her massively. And myself personally, I've gone full time with the sport, and it's allowed me to travel and really kind of follow my dream and my passion. So the sport has been really good to myself, but also to my family. Like you mentioned, my youngest brother's just turned 16, and he's hoping to come up through the ranks as well as a kind of a junior swimmer, and hopefully break out onto that international stage. So it's been really exciting, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to train with my siblings throughout my junior swimming career at Maidenhead.
That's awesome. That's great news about your sister, like studying at the world-class university, and obviously still managing to do swimming alongside of it. And your younger brother continues to swim. It's awesome to hear, and it's really nice. And so you've had a very successful career as a junior swimmer by becoming multiple British junior champion, youth Commonwealth champion 2017, and also back-to-back European junior champion the 200 IM. Could you be able to explain what it was like competing internationally at a young age and the experience that you've learned?
So 2017, as you mentioned, was kind of a breakout year for me. I wasn't expecting to even get on to an international team. So when I went to British Champs that year and PB'd in the 200 IM and made a big drop, it was a real surprise when I got the letter through saying I'm being selected for European juniors. So my coach and I at Maidenhead hadn't ever planned for anything like this. No one from Maidenhead had ever represented GB internationally on the junior or senior stage. So it was completely new for all of us. And as you said, I went to European juniors in 2017 in Israel, and was fortunate enough to win there, which was a complete shock, complete surprise. And then to go on to Commie straight after that, Commie Youth Games in Bahamas, and get the win there in the 200 IM was another, real shock. But it kind of elevated me to that international stage, like you said, that junior international stage, and made me think, okay, maybe I could give this swimming thing a real go. Maybe, you know, it is for me. And it just made me more focused that final year of my age group career in 2018. And, you know, made me really get my head down and want to defend my title at European Juniors, which I was fortunate enough to be able to do in Helsinki in 2018. So, yeah, those junior international competitions were really kind of important for my development as a junior swimmer, but also as it set me up really well for my transition into senior swimming. And having gone to a foreign country with the GB team, with coaches you don't normally work with, and to be able to race and deliver the performances that you need to do is just invaluable in terms of the learning experiences. And you know, I highly recommend any junior swimmers to get that chance to absolutely take it, because it'll set you up so well.
That's a great message there, Tom, for any junior swimmers that are listening in. And like you said, it's an amazing opportunity to be part of, and as well as having a very successful junior swimming career. As you mentioned just before about your transitioning, you have had a very successful 2018. You broke onto the senior stage of swimming by becoming British champion in the 200 IM and the 400 IM, then qualifying for the European Championships and being a part of the gold medal winning 4x200 freestyle relay. What was that transition like for you going from junior to senior?
So that's interesting. That European Seniors in Glasgow, as you mentioned, was my first senior international competition. And to be honest, I set out that year, my coach and I set out to go to European Juniors and to defend my title, but we never had European Seniors even in the back of our mind. So I finished European Juniors in Helsinki. You know, I'm really happy with the results. You know, I managed to defend my title, and I thought, okay, season done, can draw a line under it and move into my senior career next year. But then I got the letter through saying, we want you to go to European Seniors. Wow. And I thought, okay, that's really crazy. I've got to train for a bit longer. I've got to continue my taper, but I'll go up to Glasgow. You know, I might do a 200 IM or 400 IM heat, and that'll be it. I'll be able to call it a day. I went up there, did the 200 IM heat, the 400 IM heat. They weren't too bad. But then they were like, we want you to swim the heat of the 4x200 freestyle. And GB have got so much history behind them in terms of the 4x2, you know, absolutely dominant on the world stage from 2015 onwards. You know, double world champions, Olympic medalists, you know, a really great relay team for GB. And I was fortunate enough to swim the heats. And I thought, okay, that's really cool, because the team will go on and they'll be able to swim the final. You know, if they get a medal, I get a bit of silverware to take back with me being a heat swimmer. That's really exciting. Did the heat swim, and I go back to my hotel and I get a text from, I think it's from Mel Marshall actually, just saying, you're in the final tonight. So all of a sudden I've gone from not even expecting to go to European Seniors, not even expecting to swim any events other than some heats, to swing the final of the 4x2. And before I know it, I'm in the call room with James Guy, Duncan Scott, and Callum Jarvis, you know, big names in British swimming who have done great things respectively. You know, 3 of the 4 members of the world champion 4x2 team, which was really, really exciting. And all of a sudden I'm in the call room with them, I'm walking out, you know, the flames are going up for the final. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got to pull this out of the bag slightly. And luckily I was able to hold my own. I led, I think I did the 3rd leg. Jimmy went in after me, held it off, and we got the gold. So it was a real shock, a real surprise. But, you know, almost being thrown in the deep end like that with no expectations was the best introduction to senior competing that I could have asked for, really.
100%, and that's an amazing story. I didn't realize that you were just expecting, well, you weren't even expecting to even go, and then to go and swim the heat, and then going into the final. Must be an incredible experience. What was the crowd like in Glasgow? I
mean, it was amazing. Obviously, it's a home Europeans, so we're going in as one of the fastest teams on that 4x2. So, you know, one of the strongest teams for GB, one of the strongest relay teams at home with the home crowd, you know, expecting to get that gold and retain their title of world champions. And, you know, just the noise and the atmosphere. I remember watching Jimmy come in on that last 25 thinking, we're going to be European champions, and, you know, on home turf, what more could you ask for, really?
Wow, that's amazing. And yeah, I remember watching that relay actually, and you were the 3rd leg, did you say? Yeah.
Yep. 3rd leg.
I think you must have been about second, or like just behind the person that's first. And then, like, the second half of your 200, you just seemed to like go straight past them. Like, oh my God, this is going to be a very, very special swim. And indeed it was. And what a way to start your senior career, like you said.
Absolutely.
So Maidenhead has been a massive part of your swimming journey, and still is to this very day, with being a part of the Bath National Centre, as you mentioned before. What was that transition like going from Maidenhead to a national centre in Bath?
So Maidenhead is a very small club. It's just a small local club. When I joined, it wasn't really even a competitive club. Pardon me, my coach Paul Lloyd joined in 2012, who I then worked with from when I was about 12 to 13 years old, all the way up till I was 18, and I left the club. But yeah, like I said, a really small club, a small leisure centre pool. I was one of the first people to go to nationals from Maidenhead, which was really exciting. But yeah, it was just breaking new ground, really. Like I said, with the junior international competitions, and on from Maidenhead had done that before. So stepping from a small, local club, we didn't have any S&C, the pre-pool and stuff we were just introducing. It was all breaking new ground. To go from there to the National Centre for Swimming in the UK, along with Loughborough, was just a massive step up. And, all of a sudden I've gone from the bare minimum almost, the real basics, just a pool and a gym, to going into somewhere where, you've got nutritionists on hand, you've got physios, you've got soft tissue, psychology, coaches, assistant coaches, physiology, strength and conditioning, everything, all your possible needs to be the best athlete you can be are just laid on hand for you. And it was just absolutely amazing experience. I soaked it all up as soon as I stepped through those doors. And even though all these extras were kind of provided for me, it actually boiled down to the same hard work in the pool and the same hard work in the gym that I'd been doing in the years prior at Maidenhead. So even though it was a big step up and a big change, I was swimming long course for the first time. We trained short course in Maidenhead. Even though it was a big step up, my coach had said before I left that you'll have absolutely no problem with the actual training. And he's completely right. Everyone at the Bath National Centre and everyone at Maidenhead just wanted to get in and do the hard work, do the hard training sessions, and there was no change there. It was just all the extras that really blew me away.
That's awesome. And wow, it must have been still is an incredible experience for you. And because a lot of people would be sort of scared going straight to a national centre, and especially going from a small club like Maidenhead straight to a national centre, that is a pretty big leap to do. And you seem that you've handled it very, very well, and it's really, really good to see. So following on from that, you competed at your first ISL last year as part of Team London Raw. What was that ISL experience like, and being a part of the ISL final where you had that exceptional performance in the 400 meter freestyle against Rapsis?
Yeah, the ISL was a really interesting one. It's kind of unlike any competition I've ever swum at before, unlike anything I've ever seen before. And it was made all the more, unusual by the fact that it was during the pandemic. So we're having to live in this bubble essentially. So it was 5 weeks in a hotel, not leaving your room, not leaving the hotel, between there and the swimming pool. And that was it for 5 weeks. So it was really, everything was stripped back, which was interesting, a little bit, unusual to come to terms with. But, all it was focusing on training and racing, and back to back racing, which was quite demanding. My first few swims and the first few matches really, were way off my PB. I was a bit all over the place. But here at Bath, we'd had a bit of disruption due to COVID within the centre leading into it. So we had to isolate, we had to have time away from training, and it was not the best lead up going into it, especially not for a 400 free, which is obviously quite a demanding event. But over the course of the 5 weeks, we trained and we rested. And as you said, by the final, I was in good nick, and I was able to race Danis Rapsis in that 400 free final, and obviously a massive name in the swimming world. For the middle distance freestyles, the 2 and the 4, and I was lucky enough to get the win out there. It was really great to PB in the final, be part of the London Raw team, do my bit, representing Bath, but representing London first and foremost, and obviously beat Rapsis. So really great experience. It was exciting, and I can't wait for the ISL season 3.
Definitely. And like I say, it was a very incredible race to watch that in the final. I don't know if you're aware, there was a fantasy ISL going around.
Yeah.
Do you know about it? We done it as a competition, as a club. And I recently, as soon as I found out there was a fantasy ISL, I just set it up with my club straight away. I think it was the day before. And yeah, I put you on my team for the final as well. And you picked me up some very, very big points. So thank you for that. And I actually won the league.
Oh, happy days.
Luckily we didn't do a wager, unfortunately, this year, but I think this year we'll be doing a wager now that I know that I've got a win under my belt. So now, what are your plans moving forward for the rest of the season, heading towards Tokyo, which is the ultimate goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Tokyo is the ultimate goal. in late July. So before that, I've actually got a competition next week. I've got Manchester. Again, they're doing another one of those similar to what we did 3 weeks ago. And that'll be the last competition we do before Olympic trials in April. So that's mid-April. So I've got that competition. I'll do a little bit more work, and then I'm going to taper down for Olympic trials. And that's the real, the big one coming up. I'll be rested, I'll be shaved, I'll be tapered, and I want to, hit out some good times there and hopefully book my name on that flight to Japan. So that's the next big aim. We'll have a little bit of time off after that, and then I think we might have a camp, hopefully, depending on the travel restrictions after that, along with a few competitions throughout Europe. Normally we do the Mare Nostrums, which is Cannes, Monaco and Barcelona. But, everything's so up in the air right now. Yeah. We just do not know what's going to happen with travel restrictions and, quarantining and all this kind of stuff. And the last thing we can afford to do now is have 2 weeks out because someone's, contracted COVID or someone has to quarantine from flying back from the country. It could, just throw a spanner in the works. So we're just playing it by ear at the moment. But as you said, Tokyo is the big goal. I think, we're about just under 5 months away now. And, that's what it's all about. That's what the last 4, or in this case, 5 years has been building up to. So yeah, very much got my sights set on the summer.
Definitely, and it's very exciting that you've got that massive goal at the end of the swimming season, that is Tokyo. Mm-hmm. Have you got any idea what type of events you would like to do for trials?
I think the 400 free and the 200 free are definitely my main ones for the trials. Obviously, I mentioned that 4x2 team. I think it's going to be really strong this summer. I can't wait, and I really hope to be part of that team because I think it's going to do great things. But the 400 free as well, that kind of came on my radar off the back of some short course performances at ISL and at the Europeans in 2019 in December. So that's definitely on the cards as well. So either of those, I'm gunning for both of them. I think the 400's on the first day and the 200 on the last day. So yeah, it'll be quite exciting.
Definitely. And seeing your progress over the years, I have no doubt that you will have an exceptional trials and you will hopefully make that team.
Thank you.
Is there any advice you can give to people listening who are struggling to find motivation over the pandemic with obviously not having access to pools and gyms at the moment?
Mm-hmm. I think it's good that we've kind of got a date penciled in the diary now for pools to open, and it's something to aim for. I think the uncertainty was very much the hardest thing to deal with. My youngest brother is 16 and he hasn't swum for, almost a year. He's probably had the best part of a year outside the pool. So it's been tough for him, and obviously it's been tough for swimmers up and down the country, not just club swimmers, but swimmers who aren't fortunate enough to be part of the national centre. So it's been very demanding. I think, having something to aim for and being able to keep your motivation up is important. But when I had the 10 weeks out during the first lockdown, my coach said to me, most athletes don't get this long out the pool until they retire. So it was, when he said that, it's almost kind of turned it on its head slightly, and it gives you a chance to step back, review, think about why you enjoy it, think about what you're excited for, think about what you can work on when you get back into the pool, and just know that everyone's going to be in exactly the same boat as you. Give you a fresh start, a clean slate. You can work on the areas you need to work on. I mean, my brother, he's grown about 1/2 foot in the last year, so it's going to be completely different when he gets back in the water. Not just that you've had so long out of the water, but it's just going to feel different. So I think it's, obviously tough when you can't be doing the work you want to do every single day, but just being able to take a moment to reflect and get excited for getting back in and know that the work's going to be tough. It won't come straight away, but hopefully by the summer, things will be starting to look a bit more normal.
Definitely. And that's great words for anyone that's listening out there, is just make sure that you do keep positive as well, and make sure, like, before we go into the pool and stuff, make sure you've reflected and hopefully keep fit and be ready for when we get back in the pool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That is all the questions I have got for you today. Do you mind if we play a game of how many times have I swum that race?
Absolutely.
So what this game is I have selected 2 main events of yours, and pretty much what you're going to have to try and do is tell me how many times you think that you've swam that race. This is including heats, semi-finals, and finals.
Right. Okay.
So this is throughout your whole career in long course. This is long course.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with 200 free. How many times do you think you've swum that race?
Probably a lot. I've been doing 200 free since I started swimming. I'm going to say heat, semis and finals 20 times over the course of my career, I'd say.
Higher.
Oh, more than that. Oh God. 20. Let's go 30 times.
I'll give you one more go. I'll give you 3 chances, and
Okay.
it's higher.
More
Again,
than 30.
more than 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. I didn't realize I'd done so many 200 frees. Okay, last one. I'm going to shot in the dark 38 times.
You were very, very close. It was actually higher again, and you swam 200 free 44 times throughout your
Wow.
career.
That's really cool. That's really interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah, and your next event is the 200 IM.
Okay, I think I've done this a lot. I think I've done this a lot. Knowing my 200 free, I'm going to pitch straight away at 40.
It's higher than 40.
Really? That's interesting. To be fair, I've done IM from the start, from the get-go.
Yeah.
I've been an IM swimmer, so it can't be more than 50 times, surely.
It is higher than 50.
Really? Okay. 58 is my final guess.
Oh, you were quite a way off. You actually done 200 IM 72 times.
Really? Wow. I didn't realize it was that much more than the 200 free.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was my first national time, actually, back in 2011, would have been that 200 IM.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I've been doing it for a long old time, actually, come to think of it.
Yeah, so 44 times for 200 free, 72 times for 200
Wow.
IM.
That's
So
awesome.
if I ever have you on this channel again, I will select different events.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. So that's it for the interview. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join me to do this interview. I will leave a link in the description of all your social media links, as well as your website in the description for people to check out. I highly recommend that you check out Tom's website. And yeah, thank you again for answering the questions and sending great messages. And I wish you all the best for trials, and hopefully you will be on that plane to Tokyo.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Tom.